Conquering Manhood, Session 008.
Conquering Manhood. Command your legacy. Take action. And conquer all.
Grooming and skincare, not of the highest priorities for men. Well, did you know that the art of grooming was one practiced and maintained only by men? With all the toxic chemicals and everyday products that we digest or put on our bodies, with the competitive edge of the marketplace, with the average person living well past 65, it is imperative that we men start taking grooming and skincare serious. But more importantly, that we actually care about the products and the ingredients of the things that we're putting and using on our bodies. As we begin to get smarter as consumer, I think it's beginning to sink in the minds of the modern man the type of products that they're using and whether or not they're safe. Over the last few years, there's been an evident spike in the range of grooming brands and products for men. One brand in particular, known as Brickel, has climbed the rankings rather quickly, having established itself as the leader in high-performing natural skincare and grooming products for men. In today's session, we have the privilege of talking to the CEO and the founder of Brickel Men Product. This featured conqueror stumbled into the men's skincare product because he wanted to take care of a problem that he had for himself. We're going to talk about his journey as an entrepreneur, the number one recommendation that all men should follow when it considers grooming and skincare, and much, much more. Enjoy this conversation with our featured conqueror, the CEO and founder of Brickel Men's Product in Session 008. Let's get on with the show. Welcome back, Conqueror Nation, and thank you for joining us today on Session 008. Today's featured conqueror stumbled into the men's skincare and grooming industry being a regular guy who didn't think grooming went beyond shaving like most of us. Today, he's built one of the fastest growing premium men's grooming and skincare companies in the world, Brickel's Men's Product. Brickel's product has been featured on GQ, Men's Journal, and Men's Health, some of my favorite magazines. And today, they're featured on Conquering Manhood, so that's a big deal for them as well. And, we get the privilege to hear from the CEO and the co-founder of Brickel himself. He's an entrepreneur at heart, having sold previous companies before, but today he thrives on creating products that solve skincare and grooming problems from every guy. Brickel's goal is to have every man in the world use at least one of their products. And Conquer Nation, man, I'm just excited and pumped to present to you the CEO and the co-founder of Brickel Men's Product, Josh Meyer. Josh, thanks for coming on today, brother.
How are you?
I'm excellent, my man. That's an audacious goal there to have every man in the world try your products. I love it.
It is. Why not? I mean, we make products that are just that good that every guy out there can use at least one of them.
I like that. They say fortune favors the audacious, so why not?
Exactly. You got to shoot big. I mean, what's that? It's the quote, shoot for the moon, you miss, at least you'll end up in the stars. It's corny, but it's honestly true.
That's right. Go big or go home, right?
Yep.
All right, Josh, so excited to have you on. And here at Conquering Manhood, before we start things off, we always like to begin with a success quote or a mantra, something that you use in your life to self-motivate, self-guide on your journey as a man and as an entrepreneur. So we'd love to hear that quote or mantra and how you apply it to your life. What do you got for us, brother?
Absolutely. Mine's from Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. When I first heard it, I don't think it changed my life, but it really resonated with me because, especially when I was younger amongst my friends, I was always the guy. I'd always tell people, I'll do anything once, and I still live by that today. And I was always the guy trying different things, doing different things, even if some of them are really stupid. And, just as you go through life, those things change what they might be. I moved from Maine to San Diego. I just drove across the country, threw everything in my car, started businesses when I, didn't have the money to do it. And, just even, you can apply it to just about anything, business or life or, women. If you see a cute girl and you want to ask for a number, if you don't do it, who knows if she'll say yes or no. So it's, you can apply it to just about anything. And I always remind myself of that because naturally, most people, we're fearful to try anything out of our comfort zone. It's like, look, when you're dead, there's nothing else you can do. There's nothing left. So you might as well do it now while you're still above ground.
Totally. I think I read a quote or it was a message or a magazine. If you want to learn how to live, go talk to people that are almost dying. And that was one of the biggest regrets, was the things that they could not do or the things that they didn't go do. Those are the things that you regret.
Absolutely. Because I think about things I've failed at, and I don't, yeah, maybe sometimes it sucks and something doesn't go your way and it hurts for a week or whatever. But then a couple months later, you don't even remember it. But those things that you've never done and always wanted to do, they just linger in the back of your mind and they eat away at you.
Mm-hmm. That big what if, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome, Josh. Thanks for sharing that. Love Mark Twain. So we're going to move on here, and we're going to talk about, I'm excited to have you on because we brought you on to Conquer Manhood because we want to learn from you as an entrepreneur, but also because we want you to school us on men's grooming products and why, as men, we need to be more aware of what we're using and why we need to even care.
Absolutely. I mean, as guys, up until probably past 10 years, you use you use your shaving cream, you use maybe a little aftershave, and that was about it. But these days, everything's surrounded by youth and going and being healthy and looking good, and especially in the job market. And some people say, oh, you just kind of say this to scare guys, but it's like, look, no, I mean, people get laid off now at the age of 50 versus you stay with a company for 45 years, retire with a gold watch. It's you're competing against others at every single age, and you need to look young, you need to look youthful, you need to look energized, and it doesn't matter how much you go to the gym, how much you eat, your skin is really the, lack of a better word, your face, because that's what people see. And if you look tired and exhausted, that doesn't bode well for you, either in the business life, it doesn't help you well in, with women. And so as guys, especially since younger generation, I'm 30, we grew up putting gel in our hair, trying to look good. It's not a big deal to throw on some, use a good face wash, use some face moisturizer, and otherwise just keep yourself looking good, because, you don't want to be that guy with wrinkles when you're 40, 50 years old looking like you're 70.
And I'm excited that you're talking about that because perhaps in this conversation, we'll break that barrier that most naive men, mainly like myself even, that have that barrier of like, oh, I got to, a facial wash and I got to put this at nighttime to preserve. But there's tons of study out there that show that attractive people get the better results. They get better jobs, they get better relationships, and you got to preserve your sexy,
Right. And it's more than just for the opposite sex. It's for so many different things in life. People want to work with people and, have friendships with people that, look good and help them get places. It's our nature. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is. All right. So before we get into Brickell's, I'd love to hear a little bit about your personal life and then you as an entrepreneur. What do you have for us?
Yeah. So, my personal life, I grew up in Maine, a very small town in Maine. It had 600 people. Grew up with a great family. My grandparents lived down the road. Great mom and dad, a sister. Kind of grew up a very, very wholesome little life. Great values, learning the meaning of hard work in central Maine. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to do more than, just kind of become a townie and stay in central Maine where there's really not much going on. And there really isn't. If anyone listening has been to Maine, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a great place to live and vacation, but if you want to go do things, you got to leave.
I mean, you said 600 people, so it must have been like your aunt was the principal, your uncle was the sheriff.
I was born in Jersey I lived there for like 6 months, but raised in Maine. But most of my friends, yes, I mean everyone is basically related in some weird way, and it always really kind of creeped me out. Actually, my business partner Matt, I used to date his like third cousin in high school, and it's always funny. I'm like, what? You're related to everybody? Because I've known my business partner since we're in high school, actually. So
wow.
And yeah, I just wanted to leave, and I moved to San Diego. I lived there for a while, loved it. It's everyone's dream to move out to California when after they graduate college, and I did that and wound up in Miami, and after a few years, ended up founding Brickel.
Like the conversation that we had in the pre-roll, my man, you've done it right when it comes to zip codes.
Yeah, I grew up with good values in Maine. Spent my mid 20s in Southern California, and spent my 20s and now my 30s in Miami. You can't beat it.
Awesome. All right. So tell us about Brickel. What's the mission statement there, and what makes you guys different from the competitors?
Yeah, so I mean, the mission statement is really to, as we were talking before, is to have every guy use at least one of our products, just because every guy out there, they've got their thing. They've got their hair, they've got their shave, maybe they just want, daily good skin, or they're worried about, wrinkles. We make a complete line from everything from hair to face care to shaving, as well as body care. And what really separates us is that when I founded the company, I wanted to use, a more premium product. I was okay if I'm going to be using something to make myself look better, I want to make sure I'm getting high quality. And I started looking at a lot of luxury brands for guys, and they're all filled with terrible, terrible chemicals. I mean, the first one I looked up, actually, I Googled an ingredient, and it was linked to a study that ingredient was known to shrink the testicles of mice. And I was like,
Oh, whoa.
yeah, it's one of the most popular brands. I won't name names in the United States for guys, and it's just like, what? Like, I would have to use a boatload to really do something, but still, it was like, I didn't realize that you could even put that type of chemical in skincare. I really didn't know much about skincare. So I can't have gluten or dairy. I'm intolerant. And so I started looking more on the natural end, and everything just really felt like it was meant for a bunch of hippies. And I was like, look, why can't I get a quality product it's also natural? Because there are a lot on the women's side. If you look up, women's luxury natural skincare, you're going to find tons of amazing products. But I was like, I knew guys was an emerging market. You got Dove for Men out there that you plastered all over the TV. I knew that men was a growing market, and I just couldn't find anything that was not only more premium but also natural too. So we started out with our initial line of 5 products, and everything is at least 90% natural and 60% organic. So what really separates us is that everyone, nowadays, you go buy anything in the store, it says natural ingredients. Yeah, well, it's probably like 1%, if that. Ours truly are natural, and they work. I mean, we've all had the experience where you buy something natural and it just doesn't work right, or it tastes like crap. All our products, they work, and that's the point, is that they're natural and they do work. And guys really, I think for us, we've noticed guys really resonate with the natural ingredients. We're less concerned about doing whatever it takes to, make us look youthful forever, but we're willing to spend a little bit more money, especially on something that's natural, that we think will help us in the future. And if it takes a little bit more time to work, we're okay with it.
Yeah. So basically, and this ties in with your entrepreneur world. You try to solve your own problem, and that's what inspired you to launch Brickel.
Yes, exactly. I started out buying more natural products, and I liked how they worked. I liked what they did. I saw results. I saw a girl I was dating. She started pointing out my wrinkles. I didn't even notice them, and I'm like, oh, I better do something about that. So, I started using some face lotions, and I was worried, oh, my hair's probably going to thin some point. I might as well use some better shampoo, and all the natural stuff. It made my hair feel great. And, I always just felt weird. Not really weird, I guess, not so much self-conscious, but I have all these random girl products in my bathroom. Like, why can't this stuff be here for guys? Why does it have to be mutually exclusive? And I talked to my business partner, Matt, and we had done some businesses together. And I had been a couple years removed from a business I had previously sold, and I was really looking for something. I was looking for another business, and I never, not in a million years, would have thought I would have started making skincare products for men. And we long story short, contacted some manufacturers and, said, hey, this is what we're looking for a type of product. Can you do it? And said, yeah, it's not that hard, especially with today's technology. And, we launched our first line and just been plugging away ever since.
That's so cool, man. Congratulations to you on that as well.
Thank you.
So what's Brickel's philosophy on its ingredients? I know that typically skincare products have two types of ingredients, those that are active and some are functional. But you said the whole 90-60. How does Brickel measure up with those types of ingredients then?
Yeah, so everything is 98% at least natural and at least 60% organic. And so when we say natural, it means naturally derived from plants. So, I mean, you could honestly take a coconut and synthesize the ingredient from the coconut and so much with chemicals and essentially create a chemical compound and still say that it's natural, even though it's not. I mean, you basically destroyed any natural content of that ingredient. But all of our ingredients, when we say it's natural, we take that part of the coconut and we're mixing it, our formulators are mixing it with organic plant compounds to create, say like that coconut oil. So when we say it's natural, 98% natural, it means it really is natural. Most people don't even realize that you can say, like my coconut example, that, you can say, oh, it's got coconut oil, but how much chemicals were used to get that coconut oil out of the coconut. And so, I mean, and as far as organic, we use as much possible that everything is certified organic. As I've discovered, and a lot of people have discovered, the organic market is such a racket. I mean, even the USDA, their specs as far as what's organic and what isn't are not that great, because you can have an organic farm and then, down the road can be a place that uses tons of preservatives, and if those preservatives get carried over by bees or wind or rain or what have you, it kind of is what it is. And so we don't want to lie to people. We're to say, look, this is exactly the organic content in our products. This is, we lay it all out there. All the ingredients are right there, and it's up to them to make the decision if they're okay with that.
Okay, so I mean, but those for those poor farmers out there, they're probably using organic preservatives. I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's one of my friends who used to deliver produce in college, and he was not delivering organic produce. And one day he was making a delivery to a small little shop, and one of the customers was like, "Oh, great, another delivery of organic produce." And he looks at him, he's like, "This isn't organic. What are you talking about?" I guess the shop owner had been advertising their stuff as organic. And so that's why I say we're just very upfront about what's organic, what's certified organic, how much is natural, and kind of let the consumer making their decision.
That's awesome, man. And I know that the ladies out there in the Conquer Nation, because we have a large women audience too, they're probably eating all this up. But for the guys,
they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They know so much about ingredients, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I hear my wife chattering sometimes with her girlfriend. And it's like, okay, but let's bring it in for the dudes, Josh, because the typical dude out there. I mean, I do my research, right, to get smart on things. If I don't know, I look it up. And that's how I knew that, that each skincare product typically has two types of ingredients, and those are active and functional. But for the typical guy out there, who could care less really what ingredients he's putting on, sadly, what do you say to them? Why should they get smart on this type of stuff, and what's your challenge for them?
Typically, an active ingredient is something that's actually having an effect on your skin. So, I mean, you put aloe on your skin, it's going to have an active effect. It's going to create certain properties within the skin. It's going to cause your skin to hold a little bit more water and more moisture, so it does look more firm. It does look more energized, versus an inactive ingredient can be something like a preservative, which can be organic based, or it can be a whole host of chemicals. And you need to watch out for a lot of products, and they might say, especially in skincare, oh, made with the active ingredient is aloe. Okay, great. But if the active ingredient is only 10% of the product and the rest is something, are preservatives, I mean, you're basically digesting a bunch of chemicals. And the thing I didn't realize before I started the company was basically your skin, putting something on your skin is the almost exact same as putting it in your mouth. So whatever you put on your skin, it's getting absorbed just as if you were eating it. So I mean,
Wow.
if you eat McDonald's, it tastes great, but you feel like crap afterwards, and you're gonna start looking like you eat McDonald's. The same thing is with your skin. If you're using a bunch of products that are loaded with chemicals, not only can cause health effects. I mean, there are people out there, skincare, small natural and skincare companies where the founder, they were told, you have cancer because of XYZ. You have these health issues because of all these chemicals, especially with makeup, women in makeup. There's a lot of aluminum and other different types of iron and whatnot inside them. And so, for as a guy, you just got to realize whatever you're putting on your body, it's like you're eating it.
I mean, and that's a big takeaway there to the Conqueror Nation and the guys out there that who just don't care, and you're using soap or whatever. Not to bash that out. You have to care today because it's going to be too late in the future. That's why these things have to matter today.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, take care of your skin. Just do the basics, and obviously, I'd love if you bought our products, but just if you want to use someone else, just be smart and do your research because like you said, years and years of using products that are loaded with chemicals, it's just as stupid as eating years and years of food that is loaded with preservatives as well. And most guys, I think, the big movement towards more natural food, the whole foods of the world, more and more guys, it's pretty obvious to see when you eat the effects with skincare. You're using the crap you buy at the drugstore, and you wonder why your skin looks irritated. You wonder why you can't get a better shave. It's because in order for most companies to keep their margins, they can't use a lot of natural ingredients. It's why our price point's higher, because to use natural ingredients, it costs more.
Yeah.
And the large companies of the world, they don't want to do that, and they don't need to.
Yeah, and so you mentioned what you were just talking about, learning things as you were coming up with Brickel and the products in that learning process. So I'd love to go there a little bit, Josh, because I know you guys are making a name for yourself real big. I know you just got featured on GQ,
Yep.
Men's Journal, which is one of my favorites, Men's Health. And it's because you guys are awesome products, and it shows from the moment you get it, the bottle, the ingredients, the smell, and then where it matters is how it makes you feel, which is awesome. With all those successes, I'm sure you had plenty of obstacles and challenges. Can you share a Brickel experience and a lesson it provided you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got tons of them.
I bet.
As far as Brickel, I mean, I'll list off a couple funny ones. Our face scrub, we originally put it in because we have bottles. So if you buy any of our products, they come in amber or emerald bottles. And we started putting our face scrub in these bottles, and we realized after we launched the product that you could only get about a quarter of the product out until you couldn't get any more out, like just because of the way that it's a little clumpy.
Yeah.
Just because face scrub has little beads in it, essentially. Customers were like, "Look, I just bought your product and we can't get the rest out." So we had to go do tons of refunds, and finally we ended up putting our scrub in a jar. We felt terrible and we laughed. We're like, how could we overlook something so huge? Because when we were testing it, we'd always test it in little jars, little bottles. It didn't even occur to us that would happen. So luckily, people were forgiving. We changed up how we packed the product, but we just wanted to get the product out there, and we probably should have done a little bit more research. So that's one of the many stupid things we've done.
Ouch.
And you're right. And as you quickly learn in the personal care industry, it's personal. What one person might love our aftershave, another person might think it's okay, and another person might not like it. It just kind of is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of great products out there that I don't think are that good, but then I'll find some weird random product that no one's ever heard of and be like, wow, I love this stuff. And the very first retail partner tried selling to, they tested our products, and she just told me how much she didn't like them. And, it was the first person I ever sold our product to. And of course, I started thinking, oh my God, no one's going to want our products. Oh, this is terrible. She really kind of ripped into me. But as an entrepreneur, John Paul DeJoria, the guy who owns Paul Mitchell, he tells a couple stories like that too, where people are like, look, I don't really like your product right when he was first starting out. Look at him now, they're $1 billion company.
Everywhere.
And, right, exactly. And the very next person I sold to, they love the product. The person after that, they love the product. The person after that, they love the product. And we got in a men's journal, they love the product, So it was like, if I just given up, trust me, after I first heard that, I don't think I even attempted to sell anyone the rest of the day. I was just sitting there, whimpering. It's the natural reaction. You just kind of learn that it's, everyone's opinions are their own, and that for every person who doesn't like your product, because, it's just not possible. Not everyone likes Nike, not everyone likes Apple, that there's a million people out there who will love what you're doing, and you just kind of keep on going. And I mean,
I think that's a great lesson that I want to highlight for the Conqueror Nation is that, you can't serve everybody. And if you try to serve everybody, then you're serving nobody.
Exactly. Yep. When we first starting, it's how do we, we're shipping products out of my business partner's, out of his garage, essentially. We didn't have the capital to get manufacturers to make the product, fill the product, label the product, send to us. So we were doing that all by hand. And of course, you get issues. You didn't cap a bottle right. Someone gets a bottle and it's basically exploded. We were just learning as we went, and now we've been growing. We have manufacturers do all that for us. We got the safety seals and everything. But when you're first starting out, you just got to realize, as we realized, as I'd been an entrepreneur before, is you just got to do it. You're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna make everyone happy, and eventually you're gonna, as long as you're a well-adjusted individual, you'll start figuring out what works, what doesn't, and incrementally just getting better and better. It's like Derek Jeter didn't become an all-star in half a season or in his first season. It took him years to get where he was, and the business is the same way.
And as they say, Josh, everybody throws away their first batch of pancakes, but in your cases, it was facial scrub.
Yep, exactly.
All right, Josh. So I'm kind of going to put you on the spot here. We're about to go into the Man of Brown. But before we do that, let's tell the Conqueror Nation about that special giveaway that you got for them and how they can enter the win if you're prepared to do that.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we'll partner up with you. We're gonna give away 2 of our daily essential face care routines to 2 of your listeners, where they're gonna get our routine on the house. And by what I say by routine is they're going to get their pick of one of our face washes and also our face moisturizer. It's our best-selling routine. If you do nothing else but wash your face every morning and every night before you go to bed, followed by applying the face moisturizer right after, you're going to overcome 99% of the problems you can have with your skin and looking good into the future. We're going to go ahead and give away 2 of those sets to 2 of your lucky listeners, and we'll be sending out a little bit more details about how they can enter soon.
Awesome. And I forget who said it, but they say motivation is like taking a bath. You got to do it daily. All right, Josh. So before we get into the Man of Brown, let's thank this show's sponsor. This session of the Conquer Manhood podcast is also brought to you in part by InMotion Hosting, the best web hosting service provider that also has the best customer service. There's been times where my website hasn't working because I probably goofed something up, but I call them right up and they go live with me, take care of me, and they do it on the spot. They even provide that service 24 hours. All of your website needs, I recommend InMotion Hosting. It's where I run all of my websites. If you go to conquermanhood.com/hosting, I've set up a page there for you where you can get up to 38% off your services, plus a free domain, and I also hook you up with some bonuses with my Power Pack guide. So I'll teach you how to install everything and even give you a walkthrough of WordPress plugins and how to make money off your website and more. Again, that's conquermanhood.com/hosting. All right, Josh, first question of the Man of Brown, and that's, what has been your proudest man moment with Brickel?
My proudest man moment with Brickel was definitely getting into men's journal. That really kind of set our company off because before that, it was me just reaching out to a lot of bloggers. Nothing against bloggers, but there's a certain thing to be said when you're featured in Men's Journal. I'd just been cold calling editors every single day, Esquire, GQ, Men's Health, Men's Journal, just cold calling them. And, they get thousands of these calls a week. And, everyone under the sun is. And I just randomly emailed one of the editors at Men's Journal, just cold emailed her, and she was just awesome. She was like, whoa, I love your site. I love what you're doing. Tell me a little bit more. Can you send us one of your products? What's your best product? And I said it was our face moisturizer. I sent it over to her, and she loved it. Her boyfriend tested it out. He loved the product, and they put us right in into their October 2014 edition. And because of that, once you get into one of those places, then the other ones, all the other magazines start taking you more seriously. Retailers start taking you seriously. We got tons of orders. I mean, I can attribute thousands upon thousands of dollars just from that one little mention. And it was great. It really just it made our brand legitimate. And it was, it took me months to keep knocking on doors to make that happen. So we were thrilled about it.
But we got to applaud your hustle on that one. How did you find out? Like, did they tell you, oh, it's going to be on this issue, or did it just come up? Did you just pick up a magazine, or how did that come up?
Yeah, they tell you. It's different for all the magazines. Some they'll put you in and you have no idea, and all of a sudden you see tons of traffic and sales, and you start trying to figure out where's it coming from, and with the internet it's pretty easy to figure out. But she's great. The editor I work with, she's we continue to work with her. We're going to be working with them again, and she told us, and I bought I think I bought 10 copies, and my mom bought 20.
Nice. All right, John. So what's one grooming tip every man should follow?
One grooming tip every man should follow is, it kind of goes into our contest where we're offering, is to just wash your face every day and use moisturizer every day. Do those two things, and you will beat 99% of the skincare problems, well into the future. That's it. It takes 2 seconds. Wash your face in the shower. Put on face moisturizer when you get out of it. You're good to go.
I'm going to add to that. Brush your teeth, too.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that should go without saying, but I actually probably do have friends that need to hear that.
We'd love to hear if you read, what's an influential book you've read, and how did it influence you?
I'm sure a lot of guys can say this. I've read a lot of influential books. I would say I actually have two. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People was such an eye-opening book to how interpersonal communication, just how you deal with your fellow man. I'm an introvert at heart, but
no way.
Yeah, I'm an introvert, but you can't get anywhere in life being a true introvert. You need to be able to work with people, talk with people, relate with people, and that book really opened my eyes to, and it's not just common sense, and it's such an amazing book, just on a personal level and on a business level. I read that a while ago, and the most recent book I actually read, which every man I think it should be honestly required reading, is Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography.
Tell them Total Recall, right?
Yeah, it's the very first half of that book. I mean, the second half of the book, he kind of gets into more his kind of movie style, his
presidential,
his fame, and his him as a governor. But the first part about it, whether or not you believe, whether or not you like Arnold, whether or not you like his politics, what have you, his mind, he really is a machine. Just the way he thinks, the way he thought at such a young age, setting goals. He came from a poor family in the middle of nowhere, Austria, and just had these massive goals for himself, and he accomplished them, and just the way he thought. And when you start looking at parallels between how he thinks and other successful people, and then also when you start becoming successful yourself and seeing a lot of the things that he talks about in the book that he knew from a young age that I didn't realize until sometime in my 20s, you're like, whoa, like it really is just mindset, and it's just an eye-opening book as to what you can really accomplish with your life.
Yeah, it's mindset and work. I mean, he says, like, do the reps. You just got to do the reps. I love his book because that man, disagree with him if you may, but he has mastered the law of attraction, like the law of thought, man. That man even predicted he was going to marry a Kennedy and hit that on. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. I mean, I was pretty in awe of what he's been able to do with his life. And I mean, I came from a great family in a small area of the United States, had a great education, and I just kind of look at that and I'm like, this guy couldn't even speak the native language in the country that he was in. And, look what he's accomplished. Like, I should be able to do so much more.
Mm-hmm. That's a great book, Josh. I love both recommendation and To the Conqueror Nation. Totally recommend them. You can get both of those books for free at audiobooks.com/conquer, CONQER. Josh, for our listeners in the Conqueror Nation who want to get into the men's grooming business, what would be a piece of advice that you would provide for them?
They want to get it. And actually, that's a pretty popular subject because the men's segment of the they call it the beauty industry, personal care market. It's the fastest growing segment. There are new brands. I see new brands weekly. What the one piece of advice is that kind of from my story about my first, attempted sale was that you're going to deal with tons of rejection because there are just so many different products out there, and just be prepared for it. And eventually you're going to find people who like your product. Not everyone needs to like it. You just keep going, find your niche, find those people who love your product.
Nice. All right. What's exciting you about your company today in the morning? What's got you fired up?
What's got me fired up was we originally launched as e-commerce only. And we quickly realized that, we really need to have a wholesale or a retail distribution. And so we actually only started our retail distribution about 9 months ago. And we're at the point now where we're adding about three new retail partners a week. So every day I've got a solid sales process down. Every day I'm excited to see how many more doors we can get to sell our products than the week before. And so it really comes down to how well I can sell. And so I'm always trying to beat myself.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure it's going to be everywhere here shortly.
I hope so.
Last question on the Man Up round, but it's a question that I ask all my featured conquerors, and that's what is your definition of a conquering man?
My definition of a conquering man is a man who wakes up every morning and does as he pleases. Short and sweet. Whatever that might be, whatever he wants to do that day, he has the ability to do so. If he's perfectly fine being a teacher, making $40,000 a year, waking up, going and teaching students, living a humble life, and that's what he wants for himself, he's a success. If it's having that, $100 million company and going out in his yacht, if that's success to him, then so be it. But it's him living the life that he wants, that he's envisioned, and not living someone else's.
Hey, and I preach that to the Conqueror Nation. It's about living your lifestyle, and for everybody it's going to be different, but it's defining that lifestyle that you want because everybody has one, and and doing that and doing it to the best of your ability, right?
Exactly. I honestly, I don't think you can see a level of success without changing your mind frame, and you start realizing that how easily people just kind of live a life that everyone else lives. And I ask more and more of my friends, like, are you happy? Are you doing what you want to do? And most of them, yeah, I got a job, I got a girlfriend, I got an okay place to live. It's like, well, is that what you want? Is that the life you want to live? No, is it? That's what most people do. They get jobs, they get married, they have a house, and they die. And is that what you want? If that's what you want, then great. If that's not what you want, then why aren't you doing it? Because you've only got one of these.
Yeah, you only got one. So get off that treadmill of life and go take action, right?
Right, and everyone's got their own way of living life, and do however you want to live. As long as you're not breaking laws or killing people, go for it.
Josh, man, thanks for coming on and hooking us up with those awesome BRICKELL'S products. Very cool. Before we say goodbye, let us know how we can get BRICKELL'S men's product and then how we can connect with you.
Yeah, the absolute best way to grab our products is right from our site, BRICKELL'S .com, and if you prefer to shop locally and want to buy from a store by where you are, at the bottom of our website it says find a retailer. We've got one of those maps where you type in your city or your zip code and you can find one of our many growing retailers in your area. And if you ever want to directly get a hold of me, my email address is josh@BRICKELL'S.com. Brickel is spelled BRICKELL, mensproducts.com. And for any of your listeners, if they have questions about they have specific problems with their skin, or they just want to know what they should buy for a certain objective, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm I'm always happy to help. It's, I look at it, I help one customer, then they're going to tell other people. And, helping one customer usually means you're helping out more than just one person.
Conqueror Nation, there it is. Age well with Brickel's high-performing natural skincare products. And if you don't know where to begin, Brickel has you covered, my man, with daily essential men face routines. They even have those personalized monthly grooming plans as well. So make sure and check them out at BRICKELL'smenproducts.com. Josh, thanks for coming on. The Conqueror Nation salutes you, my man, and I say to you, conquer all.
Thank you for having me very much. I appreciate it.
There you have it, Conqueror Nation. I like to buy from companies that have a good, sustainable, ethical, and scientific practice. And I like to purchase from companies that also put health first, So I found Brickel, man. They're awesome. Make sure to check them out and check out my manly review that I conducted of Brickel Men's product on Conquer Manhood TV. I'll link to everything that we talked about today on the show notes, links to the books, the sponsors, and how to enter the contest as well. And if you enjoy this session with Josh and myself, go ahead and give him some love on Twitter. I made a sweet little link that you can do that real easy by clicking on that on the show notes. I want to thank all of you for every last subscription and review. I truly appreciate that. I love you, and I'll read one in the next session. So if you haven't already subscribed or reviewed the podcast, I truly appreciate if you would take a little bit of your time and go ahead and do that. Those rates and reviews truly help out the show by putting our message out in front of others. And then finally, I'll end with this. I want to tell you that in life, remember that you can totally have it all if you just take the right mindset, some mentorship, and you put in that grit to do the work. Like we talked about with Arnold early in the session, all you got to do is do the work and then elevate those around you. And then until next time, Conquer Nation, conquer all.
Thank you for listening to Conquering Manhood. Now, it is time for you to conquer all. So take action. Head to conqueringmanhood.com and grab the 4 steps to conquering manhood, the ultimate guide, for free.